Welcome to the Please Suck Less podcast, a podcast where one guy shares his views of where the fire service can improve. Thanks for listening. So I have a friend of mine who is not in the fire service, but he is in the healthcare business. And we get to talking about just stuff in general and how, the healthcare system has changed, especially emergency services like emergency rooms and even an ICU and things like that. But more importantly, we kind of discussed the employees, the people that are working in the healthcare industry, whether they're licensed nurses or PAs or nurse practitioners, and even the LPNs and the aides and things like that, techs that work in the business. He said things are so bad now when you're working on the floor of a hospital or whatever, that outside of murdering somebody, it's almost impossible for them to fire somebody. And that got me thinking that, we are supposed to have some of the best healthcare in the world. And it makes me wonder, who are we hiring? And not only that, who are they keeping on? So we talked a little bit more, and it's like, not all, but there are people that show up to work, they don't do their job. Sometimes it could be considered criminally negligent at doing their job. And because it's so difficult to fill the ranks of the healthcare service, that their management and the administration is reluctant to fire somebody because they're having a hard time replacing them. So that got me thinking, why is it so hard to replace people in the healthcare industry? To me, that's a job that is never going to go away. It ranks up there with, and I'm not saying is equal to, but it ranks up there with services like HVAC and plumbing and electricians and welders and things like that. You're always going to need those type of people. Same thing with police, fire, healthcare workers. You're always going to need those people. So why are we not having people flocking to these industries to work in a stable environment, or so-called stable environment, where you are guaranteed work? I don't know what the answer is, but the questions that just come through my head is, why are we keeping people around? And if the answer is because we can't fill the ranks, then we need to start looking at the industry. And I've always been a critic of upper management. You got to start looking at the top down. Why aren't you recruiting and attracting people to become physician's assistants, nurses, doctors, nurse practitioners, aides, healthcare worker aides? The work is guaranteed, yet the people that they're hiring just are shitbags. And when they do things like fall asleep on the job, not give the right medicines, not give medicines, not check on their patients, things like that, and it's noted by the few good people that work in these industries, nothing happens. Management will say, well, we need you to write that up so it can be documented. And it is, and it's pushed forward. And they're like, well, we'll talk to that particular person. We really can't afford to lose anybody right now. Nurses are leaving hand over fist. They're leaving the profession. To me, that's scary, because I've said it 1,000 times. Nurses are the people that keep doctors from killing you, because doctors make mistakes. And if nurses don't catch it, they're the ones that are going to be, liable. They're the ones that are going to end up going to jail because they didn't catch a mistake that a doctor made. But at the end of the day, why? Why are they so reluctant of discipline or firing people we don't need in that particular profession? And then why aren't new people coming in? And this is everywhere. In the fire service, I've said it 1,000 times on this show and on my other podcasts. We're having a hard time getting people to come and test to become firefighters. We're having a hard time attracting nurses to, become registered nurses. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we are getting a lot of people going to school and getting their degrees, but once they actually get into the business, they recognize right away that they're overworked, they're underpaid, understaffed, over patient, or too many patients thrown at them that they're supposed to be responsible for. I mean, let's look at it this way. On a working fire, an incident commander tries to keep his span of control at 5 to 1, meaning 5 divisions or groups, one incident commander. In the nursing world, it's not uncommon to see 7 or 8 to 1. Now, those 8 patients can be a pretty heavy load, where you have to give medicines and turn and clean and make sure that they're being taken care of. One nurse to do all of that. And it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female nurse. It's one nurse to take care of all of those people. Then it comes down to, if your aide or your tech that's there to help you is a turd, you're by yourself, and there's no repercussions to have that person removed from the job so you can get somebody in there that's decent. So I feel my friend's frustration that what difference does it make? What good would it do if I write this person up for the third or fourth time, outside of criminal negligence, like just obvious criminal negligence that you can't turn your back to get rid of somebody, versus, well, we really can't afford to get those people. And if they do end up getting rid of people, well, you can't attract more people to come to this position. So what do? They hire agency nurses. And I'm not knocking the agency's nurses, because those people are making a ton of money. And it's not just nurses, techs and things like that. They're making a ton of money. And you're still bringing in people that don't want to work as hard as they should in this position. And it's not all, it's a few, but the few are definitely louder, or they're seen more than the minimum that's actually out there doing the job, kicking ass and keeping you safe and making sure that you're healing and truly care about the job. So I mean, it's no secret that the healthcare system is an absolute mess. You have people that are running the healthcare system that have no idea what it's like to work on the floor as a nurse or a nurse practitioner, or a even a newer physician, or a physician's assistant, or tech. They have no idea what it's like to work on that, and they sit in their office and they just basically poo-poo on whatever issues that are going on, and they turn blind to them. They hire people that are supposed to manage that, and those people are so afraid of losing their jobs, so they just cover their ass by not reporting all the shit that's happening. Meanwhile, the hospitals are burning down. You got ERs that are overcrowded, which translates down into ambulances that transport emergent patients from the field to the hospital, are waiting an hour and a half, 2 hours to get a friggin' bed, tying up EMS units. I mean, it's a huge trickle-down bullshit thing. But at the end of the day, it's you, board of directors, that sit in your suit and your tie or your fancy dresses, and you're sitting behind your board table, your boardroom, and you're talking about, how great the numbers are and how much money you're making. In the meantime, everything's burning down around you. You've got shit employees. You've got really good employees that's saying, I'm not dealing with this crap anymore, and they're leaving. And you're bringing back people that don't care, that know they can get away with murder and not do the job. And you're not going to get rid of them because you don't have anybody coming in. So I think it's high time that, like in the fire service, these administrative people, these board of directors, whoever, get out from behind your desk, get down in the trenches, and see what these nurses and doctors have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Find out how understaffed, how bad, how busy, how psychotic it is in the emergency medicine and in the hospital itself. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see what they're talking about and you'll institute changes. But until you decide to do that, the healthcare industry is just going to become a big shithole. It's the same thing in the fire service. If you have chief officers that don't get out from behind their desk and go down and go to the fire departments, run calls and see what these guys are doing, listen to what they have to say with the issues that they are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, not having the right tools, having in the medical industry, having a shortage of medications. What the fuck? How do you have a shortage of morphine and the medicines that you do use every day? Is it being mined on some asteroid that costs billions and billions of dollars to get the ingredients to make medications, or is it the fact that it's we want the supply and demand? So the more demand that there is for it, then the more that we can charge for it. I'm not going to get political, but at the end of the day, nurses and doctors and PAs and physicians assistants and all that, they're working with reduced staff, too many patients, too many hours, not getting paid what they're worth. Don't get me started on not having a union to protect them. And then, being told to suck it up and to continue to move forward and do what you do, and look down there, and the administration looks down their nose at you, and pawns you off as somebody that's complaining. It's no wonder that nobody wants to write anybody up anymore, because it doesn't go anywhere. So at the end of the day, I'm looking squarely at you, anybody that is in charge of nurses and doctors and things like that, these board of directors, get your shit together, get your head out of your ass, take a look at what's going on in your hospital. You are responsible for the employees that are there. You're ultimately responsible for the patients that walk in and out of that hospital. And if it's burning down around your ears and you just want to continue to fiddle while it burns, you are the problem. You make the industry a shit show. So suck less, do better, do your job, take care of your employees. Thanks for listening.